On May 29, 1980, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics won the NBA Rookie of the Year award, narrowly beating out Los Angeles Laker and rival Magic Johnson. This was one of the first battles in a legendary rivalry that lasted throughout the 1980s. In this video, we'll look back at each player's rookie season and see how they helped change the NBA, bringing it to new heights of popularity. Before we get started, I just want to say welcome to All Sports History. This is a channel where you'll find many sports documentaries on sports leagues like the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and much more. So please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell if you don't want to miss any of those. Okay, let's get back to today's video. The Magic-Bird rivalry truly began the year before during the 1979 NCAA Championship. Heading into the final matchup, Magic Johnson's Michigan State Spartans were favored over Larry Bird's Indiana State Sycamores. Michigan State would beat Indiana State 75-64, securing their first ever national championship. The game itself drew immense interest from fans, becoming the most watched basketball game ever at the time, and that's combining both non-professional and professional play. The 1979 NBA Draft was held just a few months later on June 25, 1979. With the Los Angeles Lakers and the Chicago Bulls in line for the first overall pick. Originally, the New Orleans Jazz had the first pick, but gave it to the Lakers in exchange for future Hall of Famer Gail Goodrich. And at that time, the order of the draft picks was decided by a coin flip. The Lakers won the coin toss, and they selected Magic Johnson as their first overall pick in the 1979 draft. Johnson, who had just finished his sophomore year in college, decided to leave 2 years early and signed with the Lakers with a $600,000 contract. By this time, Larry Bird had actually already been drafted by the Boston Celtics the year before in the 1978 draft as a junior in college. Bird, who was thinking about staying at college for one more season, basically told the Celtics,
"I think you better chill out."
Well, the Celtics chose Bird anyways as the number 6 pick in the first round, but Bird instead decided to stick with his plan and played his senior year of college basketball. This was a risky move for Boston because the team could have lost the exclusive signing rights to Bird after he decided to stay in college for one more year. Because of this, Bird had the option to re-enter the draft in 1979 and be picked by another team if he wasn't signed by the Celtics prior to the start of it. During the team's negotiations with Bird, Celtics general manager Red Auerbach's initial signing offer was deemed too low by Bird. Auerbach pushed back by saying that he wouldn't pay Bird $400,000 more than the Celtics' current highest paid player, who was Dave Cowens at the time. Larry Bird's agent told Boston that Bird had no problem re-entering the draft if he wasn't paid what he wanted. By April 1979, 2 months before the draft, the two sides came to an agreement and a 5-year deal worth $3.25 million was signed by Bird and the Celtics. At the time, this deal made Bird the highest paid rookie in the entire history of team sports. Not long after the deal was signed, the NBA moved to change the drafting rules to prevent teams from drafting players before they were ready to sign. This change would be known as the Bird Collegiate Rule. Before the start of the 1979 to 1980 season, the Celtics were coming off a 29-win and 53-loss record the year before. In Larry Bird's first game, he scored 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists against the Houston Rockets in a 114-106 win. A month later, he recorded his first career triple-double with 23 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists in a game against the Detroit Pistons. Later, in November of 1979, Bird had his first 30-point game in a matchup against his home state, Indiana Pacers. Boston would finish the 1980 season with 61 wins and 21 losses, which was a record for a one-year turnaround for an NBA team at the time. The Lakers franchise, on the other hand, prior to the start of the season, went through quite a bit of change. Businessman Jerry Buss had just bought the team from the previous owner, Jack Kent Cooke, and installed a new head coach in Jack McKinney. Magic Johnson joined already established star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in creating a unique style of play featuring no-look passes and fast-paced scoring. This was the beginning of the Showtime Lakers era that would last throughout Magic Johnson's Laker career. Part of the Lakers' early success was due to head coach Jack McKinney's running style offense. Even though the Lakers had one of the best point guards in the league in Norm Nixon, McKinney moved Nixon off his normal position and played Magic Johnson as a point guard instead. However, just 13 games into the season, Jack McKinney was seriously injured after falling off his bicycle and hitting his head. Paul Westhead, seen here holding a team meeting in an abandoned school, was an assistant coach under McKinney, and he stepped in as the interim head coach while continuing to push McKinney's offense-oriented style of play. Throughout that season, Magic led the league in triple-doubles, and the Lakers would finish the season with 66 wins and 22 losses, winning 19 more games than the season before. Bird and Magic's first game against each other in the NBA came on December 28, 1979. The game was played in Los Angeles, and the Lakers cruised to a 123-105 win against Boston. Magic Johnson outplayed Bird by scoring 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, with Bird scoring 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Both Bird and Magic were selected to the 1980 NBA All-Star Game and the All-Rookie team, with Magic Johnson averaging 18 points, 7.7 rebounds, 7.3 assists, and 2.7 steals per game that season. Bird finished the season with averages of 21.3 points, 10.4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.7 steals per game. Even though the statistical matchup between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson at the end of the season was very close, Bird was voted Rookie of the Year by a pretty wide margin. Out of 66 possible votes, Bird won 63 first-place votes, leaving Magic receiving the only 3 other first-place votes. Bird became the third Celtic all-time to win the Rookie of the Year award, with Dave Cohen's last winning the award for Boston in 1970. The Celtics would end up sweeping the Houston Rockets in the first round of the playoffs, but would fall to Dr. J and the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Magic Johnson would help lead the Lakers all the way to the NBA Finals that year in a matchup against the 76ers. The Lakers would beat Philadelphia in 6 games to win their 7th NBA championship. When Larry Bird and Magic Johnson entered the NBA, it helped renew a long-standing rivalry between the Celtics and the Lakers that dates back to their first NBA Finals meeting in 1959. Over the next 10 years, the teams would face each other 7 times in the finals, with the Celtics winning every single matchup. Bird and Magic would go on to face each other in the NBA Finals 3 times, in 1984, 85, and 87. Bird's Celtics won the first finals matchup in 1984, while Magic's Lakers won the last 2. Both players would help the Lakers and Celtics become dominant forces throughout the 1980s, with both teams winning a combined 8 championships. By the mid-80s, both players had become the 2 most popular players in the sport, which is best exemplified by this 1986 Converse commercial where Magic randomly shows up in a limo to challenge Bird to a game of one-on-one.
I heard Converse made a pair of Bird shoes for last year's MVP.
Yep.
Well, they made a pair of Magic shoes for this year's MVP.
Okay, Magic. Show me what you got.
The Bird Shoe, the Magic Shoe. Choose your weapon from Converse.
Their real-life head-to-head statistics were basically mirror images of each other. Both players played for 13 NBA seasons and were selected to the All-Star Game 12 times. Both won 3 league MVPs, both were named to 9 All-NBA first teams, and both were selected to 10 All-NBA teams. Looking back at the NBA during the 1980s, it was a revolutionary time as it was extremely rare to have 2 all-time greats coming into a sport at the exact same time and squaring off against one another for years. The NBA prior to Magic and Bird entering was a vastly different league, with declining game attendance and struggling for TV viewership. In fact, some of the playoffs and finals were not even shown live and were shown on tape delay at a different time. And this is mainly because the finals just couldn't compete with most primetime television shows for ratings. The Magic-Bird rivalry would help change all of that, ushering in a new era of basketball for the NBA. They ignited brand new interest in the game while capturing new fans worldwide, and they helped make the game what it is today. So that does it for this day in sports history. What did you guys think about Larry Bird winning the Rookie of the Year award over Magic Johnson? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and feel free to share this with anyone else who might also enjoy it. For more sports history, check out my website at allsportshistory.com, and be sure to follow my social media pages, which I've posted the links in the description below. And thanks for watching.